Corporate career responsibility is a call to all experts and consultants to give back their time, skills, knowledge, and expertise to mentor and nurture future industry leaders. Are you passionate in nurturing future industry leaders and professionals who will take enterprise to a higher level? Corporate Career Academy, together with Student TV, is giving you an opportunity to share your knowledge, skills, and mentor students and young professionals.
Hi, my name is Kevin Tui. I'm the Athlesian community leader for Athlesian Meru. I can't explain how excited I am to be talking here with you today. Just excited to be coming there to Kisii University and just to enjoy, just to have fun together with you, as also we celebrate your achievement of being the most active university during the Corporate Career Academy online sessions. Just again, before I get to even to more details, I just want to tell you what Athlesian is all about. So Athlesian is a company. It's a company that builds teamwork and productivity tools, and also advocates for best practices with regards to remote working, agile, and all that regards to becoming productive, whether with your studying or whether in the workplace, just to ensure that you can be able to work well in a team and get the most out of whatever you're trying to do. So we'll be coming to Kisii University just to talk about a number of things in the actuarial career day, and I can't explain how excited I am just thinking about it and how we're going to have it tomorrow. But even before going that much more about it, the objective of the Athlesian region, the Athlesian community events, is to be able to bridge between the industry and also what you are doing at campus. So we are trying to make sure we are doing our best to just ensure that we are bringing you the best. And I can't explain how our partnership with Corporate Career Academy is growing in terms of lengths. We are so delighted of what Kisii University has been able to achieve. There are going to be like over 200 people in that event, and I'm just excited to be just there. And lest there's anything, I just want to urge other universities to take advantage of the Corporate Career Academy session. And if you're the most active university, maybe, just maybe, it can be you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet our session of the Corporate Career Academy. Today we are discussing data science, and welcome for joining us from wherever you are. This is Corporate Career Academy. My name is Livingston Makori. I'm glad to have you once more again for this discussion. Just as been mentioned, our partnership with Athlesian is to make sure that the most active university gets a chance to host an event in their university. To just win is very simple to win. Just go to our YouTube channel, comment where you are watching us from, the university, then the most active university gets the award. This maths will be done by the Actuarial Society of Kenya. We are also privileged to have the Actuarial Society of Kenya with us today, who are also helping us in planning this event. We really appreciate the effort that has been done by the executive committee, all the members and the representatives. With me here is Stacy Gishui. Stacy Gishui is the Vice Chair of Actuarial Student Society of Kenya, also representing the association. Stacy, I don't know if you can say hi to the team before we start and introduce our speaker for today. Hello, Stacy. Okay, I know Stacy will be coming back. As she comes, I want us to take this opportunity to introduce José. Today is a data day. We'll have two international guests discussing about data. We have José, who has more than 20 years of experience in data. He'll be able to explain to us what does it take to work in the data field, what are the opportunities in data, and what is it good in data. Then after this, from 6 to 7, we also have another speaker, Olam. Olam would also discuss to us about the data science and his experience as somebody who's somehow junior in the industry. So we want you to keep commenting, keep your questions coming. We'll be able to answer your questions mid this session after José is done with his presentations. So José, welcome to this channel. Ours is to bridge the gap between academia and industry and giving students and professionals a chance to be able to understand what they expect in the corporate world and giving them the skills they require, opportunities, and maybe an understanding of what the corporate world is all about. So you're welcome. You can unmute yourself and start by
Thank
introducing
you.
yourself. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Livingston. I'm not the best person to introduce myself, but as you said, I've been working in this area for over 20 years. I'm Portuguese, so if it, and I have crossed all over the years. I've crossed my experience in here in Portugal and in Europe, but also with an extensive experience of projects in East and West Africa and in the Middle East, and that gave me a broader view of the current situations in each of those places. I focus more on not so much on data science, but I run in the data management area. When we're talking about, let's say, it's a foundational layer that enables everything else to be done with data. And so during the presentation today, I will be speaking mostly of what is this data foundation, how important it is to get the value out of data. When we reach the point of using data science, there's a lot of work that had to be done before to enable the data scientists to work and get the right results from their work. So that will be the focus of my presentation today. So Livingston should.
Yes, you can proceed, José. Thank you very much for the introduction. Maybe you can move. The presentation is up. Just maybe you can navigate.
Okay, so we'll start, and then after the presentation, we'll be interacting with those the questions that might arise from it. Okay, let me start the presentation then. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here today and sparing your time to hear me speak about the importance of building this data foundation, and I hope that when we finish this will in some way help you to recognize the importance of creating these conditions to enable data to leverage and extract value within an organization. I think we all believe we all can agree that in the end, there's no substantial difference in the outcome outcome between a good decision made with bad data and a bad decision with good data. The results are exactly the same. So the point here is that bad data inevitably produces bad data, and data that will impair the business decision processes in any kind of organization, and that's affecting its results and efficiency. Even if we look at from the market perspective, it's competitiveness. So creating the conditions so that the right information is available at the right time to the right people will enable an organization to gain the insights for better business decisions.
Sorry for interruption. The presentation is not moving. Probably you can move the presentation.
No, I'm still, yeah.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I haven't. I'm still in the first slide.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry if I'm too talkative, but when I
No,
start,
you are good.
so where so basically it's about creating these conditions to make the right information available for the ones who need it when they need it. So the objective of this session is to highlight the importance of having this good data in the decision processes. So it moved now, Livingston. Can you see the next slide?
Yes, I can see it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
So as we can see that data right now provides every function within an organization, from the customer onboarding to regulatory compliance, uh, anti-money laundering, risk models, from customer data to sensor data. So everything runs around data. Okay, and before you can look into each of these areas, there's this foundation that has to be built. Okay, a foundation of good, reliable data, and this solid data strategy should be at the core at every successful digital transformation, uh, because data is at the heart of every business. In some way, the data is the fuel for any digital strategy. So as the data volumes and complexity are growing every day, and more data is coming from sources external to the organizations, and the data is spreading across either on premises or on cloud locations. There are some critical challenges to address when data is becoming increasingly hard to manage and govern. To even to secure, uh, to see to manage its quality, the business context, and make sure it's discoverable and usable across the organizations. So in this the foundation of this digital transformations they're looking at right now, it's data management. So the underpin of any digital transformation lies on the trust and understanding of data, which can only be enabled through effective data quality and governance. So these are the results from a recent global C-suite executive survey on digital transformation, and it is clear that data is commonly identified as one of the main causes for hampering organizations' ability to realize the benefits from their digital initiatives. And although with all the technologies we have right now, like big data, cloud drives, IoT, have increased the availability of data, and the adoption of the uh, artificial intelligence has improved enormously the capabilities for automation and data processing. Extracting actual value from data, it's still a challenge for everybody. So what I'll try to do in this session is to focus on basically two of these challenges, the ones that are fully dependent on data, namely the incomplete or poor quality data, or the lack of available data. And these are two key issues that we need to address if you want the right data to be available to the right people at the right time again. So the answer to actually get some to enhance these digital transformations efforts is to focus on the data first, and this requires an holistic approach that includes all the processes related with collecting, cleaning, reformatting, and storing data, but also the analysis of data to inform the organization's decision processes, its operations, and its digital transformation strategy. So it's an understatement when we to say that the massive amounts of data generated by businesses and consumer activity are an extremely valuable asset, although it remains an underutilized resource with very, very few organizations actually getting some tangible and measurable value from their data, or realizing some actionable insights from data on their analytic projects. In this way, data quality management and governance can in fact make or break digital transformation initiative. So leveraging the value of data to improve either the customer experience and loyalty, or to support new business models and to generate some important new insights. Okay. So for most organizations, most organizations are trying to stay competitive by changing the way they make business. Some of them don't complete their transformations as they need to stay competitive, and one of the reasons why many of them fail, it's because they don't focus on what needs to be done to create an effective data foundation to support these transformations. So understanding the data journey, it's very crucial to complete it appropriately. So without the effective use of the data without effectively using the data that an organization possesses, there can't be a transformation, and eventually this fail will end up hurting the organization itself. So in today's world, every business in every industry depends on data, and this is showing how vital data is. So let's go through this what I call this data journey, and we should showing what should be done to make sure that data is fit to feed the business's decision processes. Shortly, we can divide this journey in the four stages that you see here. That we'll go through in detail. But first of all, it's the operational data. We can consider this is the most atomic state for enterprise data. It's the first point for data collection. It's also the source for almost all the data that is used across the organization. So this makes it critical. But it's also the ideal place to start addressing issues like data quality and governance. The next step of this journey, the data integration, it's where the data from the different sources starts to be related with more business processes and business areas involved. This is where more structured approach to governance will be required. The 360 vision, because there are several different types of entities and business concepts that are used across all the organization, and each of these needs to be seen and understood in a single way, independently of which area or process they are being used. So each business concept must have a single definition. For instance, each customer must be seen exactly the same way across every business area within an organization. And next, data intelligence. This is the moment where I think it all comes together, and that data can actually be used to generate the value. Either it's from a more traditional analytical processes, or with more advanced technologies. So looking at this data journey, you can see that partly from let's say I know usually I do this talk to people with a fuller knowledge, but let's say that for most organizations there can easily be some 10, 20, 30, even more operational systems in place. Usually they're called the data silos. So the existence of these silos it's frequent, and it doesn't have to be a problem in itself. The problem starts showing when the sheer amount of data elements that each of these systems hold, data elements that are common to other systems, data elements that are specific for a given business process, some data elements that only exist either because they were native to the systems, or at a given point in time they were necessary from some reason. You also can have some data elements that have been deprecated, that are used. So all of this completely disables one of the capabilities that I believe it's essential for success in creating a solid data foundation, which is focus. Okay, and to regain this focus, it's necessary to identify what is in fact critical for business, these critical data elements or CDEs. So the identification of the CDEs can be done starting from a business area, a business case, or any other business need. It can be compliance, can be KYC, risk, whatever. But it's important here to understand that which data is in fact business relevant. And from this point, to identify where this information is residing in those multiple systems. And this, although that can be located and with a very limited scope, can act as a jump starter to govern this CDE, to identify the quality rules and issues that they might have, to define preventive or corrective actions on these elements. And done successfully at this stage, this model can easily be replicated and escalated to other areas or business cases. When we come to this point in the journey, we see that data from different systems must be integrated and related to address most of the analytical needs. This is usually done by extracting data from different systems to a single location. Can be a staging area, or it can be a data lake. And as I mentioned before, there are several different entities and business concepts that are used across the organization. So we can include in this there have several kinds of reference data, product codes, location codes, whatever. And this reference data is seldom common across these systems. So different codes might have the same meaning in distinct systems, or in the same way that the same code can have completely different meanings. And besides this, we'll have data that exists in different formats. Sometimes it's incompatible. It will have different levels of quality. So successfully integrating data under these conditions is, in fact, a challenge. And this challenge needs to be addressed in different perspectives. First, expanding the data governance and the quality frameworks to this context, enabling the control of all the data in this environment, and controlling its origins and the usage that this data has. Another important step is to be able to manage all the reference data used in the different data sources, and create a master for each type of reference data, and enabling them that they are correctly mapped and converted for each of the data sources. It's important to assure that all the business concepts are being used and used consistently. Okay, using single definitions that are mapped across the different systems with common governing rules. And for this, the business or a data catalog it's an important tool. Sorry. So partly to this complex and siloed informational ecosystems that most organizations possess, the management of some specific entities, it's largely difficult. We're talking about some critical entities for business. We're talking about customers, vendors, products, parts, locations, vehicles. It depends on the industry we're working with. And all these entities are normally used in different systems. There will be changes made to these entities in some of the systems that are not replicated to other systems. Most frequently, the rules that are applied to these entities are different between the systems and even between business areas. They might even collect different information in each one of them, in different, even in different formats. So the result of all this is that within a single organization, there will coexist multiple versions of the same entity. And we're talking about entities that are essential for business. Let's say, for instance, customers having 5 or 6 or sometimes more, even more versions of the same customer across the organization systems and its business units will necessarily have an impact on business. So having a single vision of these entities it's a need, and it's an advantage that can create positive impacts on the multiple applications of this data. And again, just speaking of customers, this single version of source of truth for customer information will impact positively in risk management, marketing, etc. So the final stage of this journey, it's where the true value can be retrieved from data. So resulting from all the effort put into all the conditions to provide the organization with reliable, integrated, consistent data, the investments that are made in analytical solutions, either the more traditional approaches as the data warehouse, or with more complex application as predictive analytics, real-time analytics, or even self-service analytics solutions, will have better conditions to live up to what is expected from them. So these initiatives will in fact be the enablers of better business decisions. So looking at this is just a model for analytical maturity. We can easily draw parallels with the data journey that I've just described. Starting with at an operational level, we can see that the ways data is used grow in complexity and also in their potential outputs. And none of this can be achieved by simply adding technological solutions, hardware, or even those skillful data scientists. All this depends on the existence and availability of reliable and quality data. And this can only be achieved without wasting time or resources if we previously invested on creating the conditions for a sound and consistent data foundation to support all these initiatives. So going to the data foundation, the purpose of creating a data foundation, and with all the tools and techniques that I'll describe ahead, are to address a set of issues that are part of the daily challenges that almost every organization has to face. IT has always been the driver for the introduction of new technological solutions to solve business problems. And more often than not, the perception of these problems and the solutions for these problems, it's always a bit different between IT and business people. So sometimes it's the organization's growth or the pressure to solve some specific problem in the shortest time possible has led to these information silos that I mentioned before. And most of them are focused on specific business problems and live more or less autonomously within the organization. So despite the frequent efforts to integrate all the data between all the systems, to this we can add that each of these systems handles data with different rules depending on their needs, with always with the different quality standards and requirements. So all these conditions create a highly complex ecosystem to manage when it comes to data. So when we're talking about building this data foundation, we're talking about being able to manage and use the available data. Again, in the time where organizations have been accumulating larger and larger volumes of data from every kind of source and every kind of format. So most of the data is being produced and gathered from ad hoc initiatives without any alignment for business goals or strategy. We're also talking about the data availability. So making, again, the right data available to the right person at the right time. So it creates, this is something that creates an effective competitive advantage, and that's impossible without the alignment of the needs of all these data stakeholders. Something else, poor data quality. So having multiple systems, each with different rules and policies, with different quality assurance mechanisms, data that is used in multiple analytical systems, distributing poor or unknown quality data across the organization will both impact operation and the decision processes, leading to bad decisions because when an organization's decision process depends on the quality and reliability of that data, and you don't have it, this will impact the business negatively with all the financial repercussions that come from there. It also leads to reduced productivity because data it's useless if it can't be found in a timely and efficient manner, and this will impact directly on the productivity of workers that need to access multiple systems and spend huge part of their time trying to consolidate information when they can actually find it. It also can lead to data breaches because being unable to control what data exists within the organization and where it's located definitely will increase the security risks. And also it will have the the compliance costs, because especially in highly regulated industries, most of the regulations are inherently data centric, and even right from the last years from now, even looking beyond data into these governance processes. So the capability to answer the questions that are on the slide is in fact a challenge, and from a certain dimension, what organization can easily know what data is stored in there. Okay, what is critical for business, either for business needs or for obligations. Whether there's sensible information accessible to people that shouldn't have access to it. Or what information is in fact obsolete and it's using resources that could be reallocated in some way. So maybe all these issues can't be fully addressed, but in some way they can be minimized. Okay, so building the data foundation is also a journey, and that blocks. And these five blocks will address the major challenges that I've identified previously. So starting with the definition of a roadmap that materializes the data strategy, relating it to the existing situation, and defining the necessary steps to go as is situation to the B2B situation. So the data governance processes that will allow to manage and control the what's, where's, who's, how's, when's, and why's of data. Again, the that assures that all the necessary processes to maintain data fit for its purpose, either in a preventive or corrective way. Master data management with the creation of a view for the most critical data entities, and creating this single source of truth for the organization. And finally, the process management, putting in place all the necessary processes for curating data, automated processes or even human handled process, but assuring that all the data quality and the compliance issues are and timely identified and addressed. So it is essential to get talking about the roadmap. It's essential of the situation you're in the way that data is managed, and also to have a clear image what are the expectations for the future. So conducting an assessment will provide the information that will be the starting point to build a roadmap for the data foundation. So identifying the systems that compose the information ecosystem, what is the most important information, what's the most critical for business, and how they are actually being governed. So the interaction, in here, the interaction between the business people with the main stakeholders will allow the identification of the most important business pain points. These are what really needs to be addressed as a priority. And we need to keep in mind that all the time that the priority is never on the technical solutions, not even on the data. The priority is always to solve business problems and to create value for the business. And it's always the business that has the best understanding of what information is the most critical, what can be in fact what can in fact leverage business, and what is failing short in their activities. The business needs will in fact determine the requirements, what will be necessary to put in place to achieve the necessary results. So this roadmap is no more than a set of initiatives and the timeline for their execution. The important here, and we'll go through that ahead, if it is that each of these proposed initiatives is designed in a very specific and focused way, with clear and measurable objectives, objectives that must be related to business gains. Okay, any data initiative that can't be directly related to a business objective will always be seen as a technical initiative, and it will be enabled to gain the necessary traction to execute any this kind of program. Sorry. Coming to data governance. Data governance it's about people, processes, and technology, and it's about combining these factors to create business value from data. Okay, unfortunately, although the awareness for the strategic importance of data exists, most organizations are still slow adopters of data governance frameworks, so risking poor strategic decision making and the misallocation of some of their critical resources. The reasons behind this slow adoption are easy to understand, as the implementation of the data governance framework in an organization can sometimes be an overwhelming challenge, which is highly disruptive and prone to failure. So most of the time, the reasons for failure can be associated with some lack of leadership buy-in, alignment with business goals and benefits, or the lack of focus on strategic data. But it's also frequently for being approached in a strict technological perspective. So all these are all structural problems faced by almost every data governance program during their development stages. Some we can say it are unavoidable, but these risks and their effects can be somehow minimized. And as any process that is introduced into an organization, it will create some disruption of the status quo, and it will generate resistance to any change. So a successful approach to data is to be able to overcome these and all the challenge that I mentioned before. And effective data governance program must start bottom up. Its success depends on finding that efficient combination of people, the processes, and the technology. Data quality, it's one of the most critical points here, because you can't have any good decisions without good data. And when I started to work a few years ago, we frequently use the expression "garbage in, garbage out." So, and things have changed. So since then, I think we can the way the informational ecosystems are more complex and data is flowing across more easily and in harder ways to control, we can garbage in, garbage out it's no longer the reality at this stage. I think we must say garbage in, garbage everywhere. And data quality has always been a challenge for organizations, but it has never been so challenging as it is now, with the increasing data needs and the more complex business environments. But it is the most critical. Starting a data quality initiative, it's often a challenge, and maintaining these programs even a bigger challenge. But they are in fact ways to do it. The master data management. We can say it's the powerhouse of an organization's most valuable data. Data that is used by all the departments across the organization to get their work done, and making it critical for any business, regardless of its size and reach. And master data is management. It's an end-to-end process of the data journey in the organization. It's collecting data from all the relevant sources to establish a single data source for the organization, the single source of truth, usually called the golden record. And with the highly siloed ecosystems that are formed by dozens of different systems, it's easy to understand that this is also a daunting task to get the proper data management when the proper data management platform is not in place. So it's it's an MDM solution solves exactly all these issues, making sure that all the systems are in the organization are that are using the same customer information, the same product information, etc. So, and finally, in the foundation, the process management. So, and then, as I've mentioned before, it's building this data foundation. It's all about finding this balance between people, process, and technology. So at this stage, we're putting in place all the necessary processes for curating data, assuring that all the data quality and compliance issues are correctly identified and addressed. Of course, not all the data problems can be addressed by automatic processes, so there will always be a need for human intervention, and to have a structured framework to address these cases, it's essential. And finally, what we can't measure, we can't control, so it's important also to have in place some management processes that will allow that all the program is properly monitored and that the necessary adjustments are done as soon as they can be, and always in a perspective of continuous improvement. So, finally, let me just talk about a few guiding principles that I have with in this line of work. First of all, that data strategy is necessarily a business strategy, okay, and it should be grounded on business cases. So, and from these business cases, we can identify how data may be used to deliver those priorities and objectives. These will be the use cases or business cases for data strategy. So in an early stage for effectiveness purposes, there should be no more than 5 or 6 of these cases, but again, all with clear, achievable objectives and stakeholders that are aware of the importance and impact of data. Secondly, to start small, thinking big, and keeping aligned with the data strategy. You should start with a small targeted initiative where the impact of the value and the value of data can be clearly identified, and especially being able to work with a business stakeholder that can uh, effectively articulate the impacts of data in their business processes, and that will be able to defend the project. To measure and communicate, so setting up a set of metrics that can be linked to data governance, and to all these processes, uh, and communicating them and turning them into success stories, that even at a very small scale can be able to create the awareness, and in somehow act as the motor to leverage and replicate that story into other business units. Business in the driver's seat. Uh, and all these programs and initiatives must be driven and oriented by the business units. Data governance, more specific, it's not an IT function, it's a business function. And it's the business who better knows what their problems and what their objectives are. So the role of IT in this process is to find the right technology and to support the business units in this journey. Uh, Applying an agile development mindset to this, it's also critical. Uh, it's to start with a minimum available solution and then iterate on that. Will allow the visible results to be presented in short time lapses. To integrate, because we're talking all this journey and all these stages that we've been through, uh, need to be fully integrated with other any initiatives, uh, integrating the master data management with the data quality, building data stewardship workflows, creating a data catalog, a business glossary, all some metadata management solutions, etc. And finally, to understand that all the data that is collected and processed within an organization, within a specific context, if it's operational or regulatory or even just an analytical context, uh, make sure that it is collected and analyzed with an end in mind. Okay, and always sustained by that business case and always aligned with those business objectives. Okay, time for questions. Livingston.
Thank you very much for that elaborate discussion.
I hope it wasn't too long, but
No
as I told you,
problem. We really, yeah, thank you very much for the elaborate discussion. I'll give this chance to Stacy, but as this comes, I'll wish to appreciate those who have joined us from different universities, and to start with Abdallah, University of Nairobi. Welcome. I have Brian Kibet, Multimedia University. We have Mary Muchai, Chuka, June Joseph, James Kimondo, Karatina University. We have Andrew from Seku. They have Mburu Maina from Chuka, Gregory Washira. We have University of Nairobi, Margaret Kaunda, Mercy Otolo. Encourage your friends to come, comment, and the best university wins the best event to be done in campus. Tomorrow we shall be at Kisii University. Kisii was the most active university during our last session. So make your university count in this session and in our next session. So Stacy, if you can hear me. Hello, Stacy.
Hello, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. José Almeida. You have really expounded
Thank you.
on data consultation and advisory. I have really learned a lot, and I hope you too have learned. So I need you guys to comment to ask your questions by typing them on the comment section. So if you have any questions, type them from where you're watching this show on the comment section, and I'm sure our guest will be able to answer you. Yeah, so if you have any questions, type them on the comment section, and we will be able to ask your questions to our guests. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Stacy. Now, Jose, I want you to answer 2 questions because we have another guest waiting. Then the guest will answer, so it's a data scientist. I want to ask one question. Students are asking, where do I work after I've done data science? Number 2, they also want to understand that those are industries. Then number 2, they also want to understand what becomes of me when I study this program, as in, are there opportunities? That's what they are looking at.
Well, first of all, I don't think you need to have depending on where you want to get, because I started as an application developer some 20 years ago, and I would never imagine ending up working in data management, data governance, in an area that I usually call the backstage of data, because we're doing work that no one actually sees. So people working with data scientists and people working with analytics have let's say the front end of data. They are able to show those results. Us working more on the backstage, we're just enablers of the work. So I believe in terms of career, I think it's very difficult to focus on a very specific area, even if wanting to work with data and having that objective, to focus too much on a specific area, because we never know. As I told you, I started as an application developer. I then started doing some things on data quality, starting investing on that area, and then started also did some more standard analytics. So in a way, I ended up with working in the full spectrum of these areas of data management all over the years. So it's very hard to set a path straight from the beginning, because talking from my experience, so there's never a single path. So in every option we take on a different path will open a large number of opportunities that we can follow. I think it's important to have some base formation and base training on this, but I wouldn't advise no one to become a specialist in the beginning of their careers, because I think that instead of starting their work life with a wide open with many possibilities. They're already closing on opportunities. So I would say that becoming a specialist early in the career, it's not a good option, and especially not training even in university to be too specific. To keep the options open as much as possible. Your second question was about the work market, right? Livingston?
Was on a market, but I know you have answered it. They have to be open and willing to learn as the industry keeps evolving. So really, we really appreciate the time you have taken to discuss this with us. I know now our listeners are now well prepared to understand about data. We have another speaker who is joining also to talk about data science, who can also be able to share more and answer some few questions. I've seen the question from Koira to be answered in our next session. I'll wish to end this session and give it some 3 minutes, then we get back with another speaker. Thank you very much, those who are watching us from wherever you are watching from. We request you to subscribe to our channel so that you can also be able to learn more and more from our experts. Feel free to subscribe to our channel. Then we will be able to let you know when we have a speaker who speaks to what you are interested in. So, José, I'm very happy for coming to this session, and we really appreciate you are coming. Maybe what could be your closing remarks as we end the session?
Well, I also would love to thank you for the invitation. It's always for me, it's always enjoyable to have these opportunities to talk with people about the work I've been developing. Unfortunately, these online sessions are not the same things. Usually, this is a much better experience when we are face to face and we can see each other's reactions. Unfortunately, right now it's not the moment to do it, but it's always an enjoyable experience. So I hope that for all the people that were listening to my presentation, that this was somehow enriching and gave them some new perspectives of what is being done in this data area. And that's it.
Wow, thank you very much. Talking about physical interaction, we are doing a physical visit to each university, and the criteria is the university that is most active in our online events. In our last session, Kisii University was the most active. Tomorrow we shall be there with the head of the head of data analytics from Jubilee Health Insurance, the head of human resources from Resolution Insurance, and among other speakers who will be discussing and giving students a one-on-one discussion perspective. We wish to thank you very much, and may we now see each other in the next session coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Corporate career responsibility is a call to all experts and consultants to give back their time, skills, knowledge, and expertise to mentor and nurture future industry